real legs in there running. But the right back, Carvajal, Mendy, the left back was superb. I thought they were excellent today, I really did. And as I said to you, I've seen them plenty of times this year, but that was the standout.
They took you by surprise, I think, tonight.
It took me by surprise, but in another way, as I said, this time last year, they beat Liverpool, and I was surprised about that. But in this competition, they find an extra gear, and I don't know what it is, whether it's just this aura about them, the white shirts, this competition in itself. They get to the latter end of this stage all the time.
And everyone's talking about the Spanish league being weak in transition. Villarreal won the other game 1-0 against Bayern, and this team here comes.
Atletico was still in the tight to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Barcelona in the Europa League.
Looking all right. And let's just check. Karim Benzema has just about left the pitch. Who can blame him, though, for making the most of that? He's earned every plaudit he gets this evening. And as Rio just mentioned, also a good night for Villarreal this evening. It's been for sticking with us. We are live here for the next 90 minutes. Plenty to talk about between now and 11:30. And it's kind of mixed emotions in here, really, because we've seen, maybe apart from Joe, we've seen a disappointing result for Chelsea, but we've seen a brilliant performance from Karim Benzema. And I think sometimes when you work in English football and you cover English teams, you get obsessed talking about their result. But I think we have to start by talking about the man who's scored 37 goals now this season, his best ever return, and there's the most important part of his season still to come.
Yeah, and this is the business end, and he's still scoring goals. He shot his team to the top of the league. Well, they're 12 points clear now in the Spanish league, flying in that sense. But he's the talisman, he's the leader now. And again, he stepped out of the shadows from Cristiano Ronaldo. We mentioned before the game, having that humility to be able to sit in the background because he knew, and under that header there, he's had to put a bit on it.
Yeah.
And it's just for young strikers watching the game, and not always do you have to use your neck muscles to kind of smash the ball back where it can.
Mendy's outstanding shot stopper. So it's just an excellent goal.
It's the power of experience. All three of you were saying that if you're 21, 22, you're so compelled to.
He don't score that goal at 21.
You know?
He won't score that goal at 21. He's getting better with age.
I think it's just his movement in and out. He knows he doesn't have to fly into the box. He's always just on the periphery. He knows where all the defenders are, and he just arrives really late. His experience counts for everything, doesn't it? But to follow up with a hat-trick against... he scored 2 at the weekend to take Madrid clear again. He scored another 3 tonight. After there's 3 against Paris Saint-Germain, he scored 2 away in Mallorca. Yeah. He's just there he missed the Classico, and you can sort of see why. But every time he sets foot on the pitch, he just looks as if he's going to score goals now. And he's averaging over a goal a game in this year of all years. I mean, it's just superb.
At 34, by the way. He's the best number 9 on the planet for me. I mean, we can talk about Lewandowski, great player. Harry Kane's come back into that form we all knew about, great player. But for me, this guy at the moment is another level. He's just phenomenal. He's impacting the game in so many different areas, not just goals, assists,
link-up play,
taking the sting out of the game, slowing the game down. That's a number 9. That sounds like a playmaker, but that's the number 9 who scored 37 goals now this season. Phenomenal.
And it's a good point because I think you see the numbers and people will talk about the goals after tonight, but when you see him live, it's the work rate. He's involved in everything.
His movement is really clever. At times he just floats out wide, doesn't he, and sort of nearly link hands with Vinicius. But his link-up play with him is excellent at the moment. He knew that's where the danger was. So the fact that he gravitated out there away from Thiago towards Christensen and almost doubled up in the first half, give him a torrid time. And that's where the game was won. It was effectively, yes, we'll talk about the third goal, but the performance in the first half was, as I said, exceptional. That's where the game was generally won for me because Chelsea couldn't do anything. They're always trying to chase the game then throughout. And
I think Ancelotti deserves credit for that because the way they set up, it wasn't by accident what they were doing, going out and isolating Christensen. He ended up having to come off because he was given that much of a torrid time because Vinicius was out there, Benzema was coming out there. But I mean, again, tactically, first half they were great. Tuchel's short.
What might be interesting? I don't know if he was booked at that stage in the game or not.
In the first half,
and maybe sometimes with Rudiger, you have to sort of calm him down. So at the start of the second half, maybe he might have been aggressive. He might have been at half-time unhappy with his team's performance. Maybe he would have been told to calm him down. In that situation, that wasn't a situation for calm. That was a situation for aggression, and he just got it wrong. But
it's a good point because he was booked at that point.
Yeah.
So that may well have played in his mind. Let's get the thoughts of a man who I'm sure will be very happy to return here and pick up a win as impressive as that. Here's Carlo Ancelotti.
Carlo, that must be a very satisfying night for you.
Yeah, we played well. Honestly, we had a good control of the game. We were good to build up from the back, dangerous in counter-attack. So It was a good night, but it's only the first half of this round. And we have to look forward, prepare the next game.
But does that feel like one of the more complete performances from the side this season, maybe?
Yeah, it was really good. I think that we show good organization, defensively, offensively. We were dangerous counter-attack. We had a fantastic performance in front from Benzema. They scored 3 goals, and yeah, it was a good performance.
Vinicius was causing a lot of problems in the first half. You got that right, didn't you? Vinicius in the first half, Junior.
Repeat.
In the first half, you had a lot, particularly wide positions.
Yeah, no, I think that helped us the fact that we were good from the back to build up, to find space between lines, and then with Benzema and Vinicius, we were dangerous.
There's still a job to be finished, but do you feel you have a big advantage now?
We have advantage. We have to be honest, no confidence. We have to prepare the next game in the league, and on Tuesday it will be another game. We have a lot of respect at this team that is still the winner of the Champions League, and so today I think we did better. Next game, we never know.
Thank you, Carlo.
Thank you.
It counts for a lot at this stage. He's got it on the pitch, but also, as you say, off the pitch, he's navigated his way through trophy win after trophy win. So he'll know what to do. But listen, he understands it's not over. These games can change on a sixpence, a split decision, a sending off maybe, a mistake as we saw today. So he'll go in this. He won't be overconfident. He'll be going there professional.
You know what? If Chelsea had taken just one of those chances they created, we'd be having probably quite a different conversation, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, and we mentioned before the game, in the Premier League since Thomas Tuchel's come here, they've had more clean sheets than anybody, any other team, Liverpool, City. So it's unusual, the last 2 games, what we've seen, 7 goals in 2 games, and we're looking to address that, I'm sure.
Well, look, he's brought plenty of success since he's arrived at Chelsea. He's also brought searing honesty. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, after the break, to hear what Thomas Tuchel made of this performance.
Success tonight, a lot to discuss. What's your reaction to that defeat?
Well, it's a heavy loss. It was one of the worst first halves that I saw from us here at Stamford Bridge. On this kind of level, you cannot play like this. This was individually as a team, and from all of us was by far not enough. We were not doing what we were used to do, and far from our standards. And then you lose games.
We could see that in the first half. They were very open and getting wide and finding a lot of space.
Yeah, everything. It's not only open, like passing, where we pass, how we pass, when we pass, where do we attack, the ball possession game. There was the intensity in challenges, the desire to win challenges, how we close spaces now. Like the first half was so far from any standards that we set ourselves that we cannot complain when we lose this half.
You got a foot back into the game with that Havertz goal, of course, and that gives you a chance. But then disaster strikes straight after.
If you have this goal, you have the energy back, and we have in second half I think 16 shots to 1 shot. Yeah, you can always come back. You can equalize. You can win it. But if you kill the game yourself after 48 minutes, it's harder and harder, of course. Still, we had chances in second half to make it a 3-2, which could be crucial, but not today.
You're a little bit downcast now, but you're still going to battle on. There's still a chance.
Sorry?
You look a little bit
downcast?
Downcast. You look a bit fed up.
Well, what do you expect?
Exactly.
What do you expect? To stand here and smile or what?
No, not at all. I'm saying, but you will still have to go to Madrid.
No, we don't have to go to Madrid. We have to go to Southampton.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is very, very important to process this first. Absolutely crucial that we first go to Southampton. And I will make sure that everybody processes this, because this is the absolutely most important now. Because if we keep on playing like this, we will lose in Southampton, and then we don't need to think about Bernabeu. We will get hammered in Bernabeu.
Thank you, Thomas.
So here in some ways, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we know what the first half was like. We watched it. We've analysed it. We know that Real Madrid were excellent. We also said at half-time how bad Chelsea were, and it's the worst we've seen them in a while. So I fully expect him, to be honest. But he has to be careful as well, because he doesn't want, a moment like this or an interview like that to curtail the season. There's still plenty to fight for. But if they do lose to Southampton, they've got Tottenham breathing down the necks now. And they have to be careful that it just doesn't fall away. They just need to get back on and work hard from now until then, and then carry on, win at the weekend if possible, and move forward.
I think when you look at I think we can look at it here in the touchscreen in terms of that first half and what I think he will be looking at, other than Vinicius, which is a thorn in their side. But also, I think if you look at their midfield, here, they had the two midfield, there you go, who had to cover big areas. And if you look at the other players, the opposition, Toni Kroos, Casemiro, Modric, look how spread that is. Look at the difference in the way they're playing. They're spreading that around the whole midfield area. And Toni Kroos, especially and Modric, they were dropping out into these areas and creating big gaps to go and press. Once he does that, you think, okay, well, where's your midfield partner? There he is, in the middle of the pitch. Look at the big space he's got to cover then now. He's on his own there in a big area, on his own. You think to yourself, wow, okay, yeah, he's got to pick up the ball. He can receive that with no one within 10, 15 yards of him. But another space I'm talking about here where there's not a blue shirt around 4 white shirts there, and that's what I'm talking about. Look at this player here in the middle, isolated. He's got to cover now that massive area there of them two blue circles. He's having to do that on his own. It's impossible. So they were fluid in the way that they attacked, but they created the problems for the Chelsea midfield, who were outnumbered, but also in terms of space didn't have a chance in the first half.
He also needs to be to digest the game, like he said, take it in. But also in the first half, you have to remember there must have been a problem with N'Golo Kante for him to come off at half-time. And you've got Jorginho in there. And Madrid was their spaces in midfield. So you had two players who were... Jorginho's not athletic. Kante, who had a problem. So the first half, Chelsea were having such a problem getting close to them. So just as much as we can praise Real Madrid for their performance, and like Rio said rightly, look, tactically, the spaces were really good. Chelsea were off it because of them reasons. And then but they need to take the second half into the Bernabeu. And in that cauldron, they need to start with that intensity with a fully fit team. And he's right. Southampton's important, but this tie's not over.
I think it's important as well. Vinicius Junior, and you have to look at this in the second half. They addressed it and they'd done well and went to a 4. But you look at Vinicius Junior here. Most of the game, he was out here. Look at him. He just stood out there and said, "This is me. This is where I'm going to be." He's in by the walls.
And Reece James just matched up with Vinicius. He didn't get a kick.
That's what Macca would used to do back in the day. When you played Macca, you'd get people. But the amount of trophies that midfield especially have amassed over the years, that area there would need to have a big shake-up. Come
on, Joe, give us some optimism.
Well, I'll only be betting with my heart by saying I think Chelsea can do it. And we see from the start, we all sat here and we said Chelsea are the better side on the pitch, but we love football because Real Madrid...
Conference League as well, yes. Leicester in Europa League conference action as well.